What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be going over some exotics for the Titan that I'm bringing into Lightfall with me that I think are pretty essential for the PvE realm. Going through that story mode, going through all the new missions, strikes, etc. Obviously, we are getting some new exotics for Strand and all of that with our new subclass, so those are obviously going to be pretty meta just because of their synergy with Strand, but all of these will carry over into Lightfall for sure. I did some weapon videos as well for everything in exotic and legendary in all three slots, so make sure to go check those out, and let's get into Titan right here with a couple of these exotics. The first exotic that we're bringing in is an insurmountable SKULLFORT, which gives us infinite melee abilities when we actually get a defeat with this melee, triggers health regen, and it gives us our melee back instantly, so you can chain arc slams all day with this, especially with the changes with shoulder charge and just our subclass in general for having the different jolt and all of that in that arc synergy. This helmet is very good for the PvE realm and even works and kind of surprises guardians inside of PvP if you do bring it inside of there as well, but very good helmet. Next up for the Titan right here, we got the trusty dusty Helm of Saint 14 that pairs with our Void subclass. So Starless Knight, targets that enter Ward of Dawn are blinded while allies pass through, gain a Void overshield. Guarding with that Sentinel shield blinds nearby targets as well. So it is a very good thing to have on for that endgame activities, and pairing with that Ward of Dawn and being that support Titan and Void Titan that is supposed to be our tank out of the group. So definitely a trusty old helmet that has been around and used forever with Bubble. Next up for our helmets right here, we have our solar synergy with LORELEY Splendor, so cauterizing flame when you are critically wounded with full class ability energy, or when you cast your barricade, we create a sunspot at our location that gives us that restoration effect for solar, so we're getting our health back when we're inside of that and get that restoration to proc. So very cool in that endgame activities when you can get your health back and it'll just deplete. You keep proccing those sunspots, which deal damage as well as heal you, so it's a very good solar synergy helmet and rounds out our helmet with the synergy of arc, solar, and void. Next up on the list right here, we have this Synthosep exotic gauntlets with the biotic enhancements that gives us that increased melee range, improved melee, and super damage when you're surrounded. So this gives us that nice melee damage increase, works with glaives and everything like that. So it's a nice buff for like running bonk hammer or just running a shoulder charge in general, void or arc on top of that. So very key and used a lot for me inside of that ad clear builds, especially with Bonk Titan. Next off right here for our Titan, we have Heart of Inmost Light. This is a very used exotic for all classes really for Titan, because when we use our ability, Grenade Melee Barricade empowers the other two abilities, so this means that we get the ability back faster and our melee and grenades do more damage, while our barricades have more hit points, so we're able to stay alive longer, and our grenades and melees do some nice juicy DPS, ad clear, whatever it may be. So this is used in a lot of endgame builds for Titan, especially pairing it with something like arc and those nasty abilities with lightning, pulse grenades, storm grenades, stuff like that. Because of the Titan aspect, very good chess piece to have for sure, and it pairs with all three classes, all four classes, and I'm sure it'll span with Strand as well. Getting close to the end right here, we have CUIRASS, the Falling Star exotic chess piece that gives us that nice crazy increase to our Thunder Crash damage. So this is used a lot to do damage on bosses with Thunder Crash, plus we gain an overshield the longer and further we travel before striking, so it does keep us alive as well. And this thing is definitely used in a lot of arc builds. People will hot swap between Heart of Inmost Light and this, so they can use Heart of Inmost Light for most of it and then hot swap to this at the end for that damage, unless your equipment is locked obviously, then you gotta pick and choose your battles at that point. But definitely very high damage output for our Thunder Crash. And last but not least right here, the DUNEMARCHERS PvP, mostly for this exotic. We have that linear actuators, which gives us increased sprint speed. Sprinting builds up a nice static charge. After we melee attack an enemy, the charge will chain damage to nearby enemies. These used to be absolutely broken with the double chain, but this works with all 3 subclasses, and it chains very well in PvP and even in PvE for some nice gnarly ad clear, especially with something like sunspots. In my personal opinion, with solar, you can get your ability regen back and get that nice proccing of that scorch with those sunspots. So this thing comes with me, definitely more for PvP, but does have its place here and there for PvE as well. And I'm excited to see what these things can do with Strand and that crazy movement that we're gonna have with it. So very interested to see that as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully y'all can snag a good high roll pair of some of these exotics before Lightfall. Like I said, I know we're getting some new exotics to pair with Strand coming out for each subclass, so we'll definitely go over those once we acquire them and play around with them a little bit. So thank you guys again. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.